welcome to the What's Your Story podcast. I'm Missy Day.
And I am Michelle Housebeck. Welcome.
And with us today is our friend, Pastor David Dendy. So welcome to the show.
As always, a great privilege and pleasure to be with the two blonde bombshells. So it's great to be here.
Maybe that should be the name of the podcast.
It should be. I like that better.
Absolutely. Hanging out with the bombshells today. Good. It's good to see y'all.
Good to see you too.
Happy New Year to all of you.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. We're off to a good start.
That's right.
10 days in. Today's National Quitters Day. Did you know that? People quit their New Year's resolutions by the 10th day. And today's
Is
the 10th.
that really what it's for?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard the stat too on the Today Show.
Wow. By the 10th, they're just over it.
It's
Yeah.
done. Yeah. Maybe next year.
Did you make one this year? Do you make resolutions anymore?
Not much.
Okay.
Have goals and dreams and hopes and whatnot. I have a kind of a word or a phrase for the year.
Right.
Oh, what's your word?
Last year was press on.
Okay.
You know, from Philippians chapter 3 or 4, just press on toward the goal. Keep moving, keep pressing on. You know, don't let the obstacles stop you. Keep pressing. And this year, no regrets.
Nice.
Oh, I like that.
We all have regrets, but I mean, not as many as I usually have. Mm-hmm. So just keep pushing through and let's do the things you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Instead of going, oh, I wish I'd done that. You know, just no, let's get it done this year. Let's do it.
Do you have a big regret?
Well, I'm an empty nester now. And both kids have gone off to college now, and so I think I'd be curious. I haven't done much study about it, but I did talk to one expert on empty nesters, and I said I got a lot of regrets. And he said every parent does. Every parent does. You know, when their kids leave, like I should have spent more time here. Or, I should have done this. I should have done that. Did I prepare the kids enough? Did I do this enough? You know, so you start going back and looking over those. Did I do enough of this? Did I do enough of that? And I said, how long does this last? He said, for the rest of your life. Yeah,
Do you think it's regrets or more curiosity? Or questions that you don't have answers to yet?
well, when the kids are doing well, you're
Right.
like, not many regrets. But when they struggle or they're facing a difficult challenge, and you're like, maybe we should have spent more time. And then plus, you know, they're part of your life for 18 years, and now they're gone.
Right.
And so did I tell them I love them enough? Did I spend enough time with them? Did I pass on enough of who I am to them? Did I inspire them? Did I push them to achieve goals or this? I mean, you just want to do. You just look back going, did I do it well?
Right.
You know? So anyway, is that what we're going to talk about today?
No. But you said the word, and then I was like, I want to know what your regret is. But no, we're here to talk about you and how, like,
and my regrets.
Yeah. Yes, let's have a really sad show.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to talk about, you know, I'm a pastor. I do stand-up comedy. I do fundraising for churches. There are a lot of things
So
I
I
do.
have a question about the pastor thing. So do you think
question about the pastor thing.
do you think you're like the typical conventional pastor?
So I can only tell you what other people tell me, and the answer is no, which saddens me
Why?
Why?
because how can I be the outlier? Because people who come to church go, wow, we can have fun here. We can laugh. We can
I see what
experience.
you're saying.
We
Yeah.
experience a lot of emotions. We can cry. We can laugh. We can be authentic. We can be vulnerable.
Right.
And I'm like, why isn't every church like that? Mm-hmm. You know, you share personal stories that make me go, hey, me too. I'm going through that too, or I've been through that, or there's a connection there, and I don't fall asleep in church. And it's like, what? I mean, the message is so great. It's so moving. It's so powerful. How is it that people see church as, that's boring. It's not for me. It's irrelevant. Doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't have any space or place in my world, in my life. And wow, what have we done with the greatest message of all time? Right. And what have we done that we turn more people off than we turn people on? Mm-hmm. So that's I find that to be regretful.
Right.
You know, does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you embrace God as opposed to religion, and that is a Big difference.
It's different.
I
Right.
believe.
Right. I think religion, I think rigidity, I think rules, regulations.
Not fun.
Right. Well, I think God, I think relationship, personal, back and forth, just like
Love.
grace.
Yep.
Here, let's walk this journey together.
Yeah.
Just like if you have a partner or you're married to somebody, you would never describe it as in rules and regulations. Well, we get up at 7, and then we have breakfast for 10 minutes, and then we talked about A, B, and C, and then I have to kiss them, and then that's not how it works, But yeah, I think people see God like that. Oh, I got to do this so many times a day, and I better show up here, I better show up there, I better do this, this, and this, and I better have more positives than negatives when I end my life, when life ends, so I can make it to the next level. And where's that come from?
Yeah. It's funny, I was today actually, so David does a series called Faith Mythbusters over on MVPC's social media, and I thought of a mythbuster I wanted you to talk about, which was, is God only in the time slot for God during the day?
Right.
Yeah, I thought, and that was kind of what you were just saying, God's everywhere all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we want to put God in a box.
Right.
And let's pull him out now. We need him now. And a lot of people praying, during hurricanes and forest fires and fires in Southern California, all this kind of stuff, and during wars and whatnot, people, a lot more attentive toward that. And then it'll pass, and then be like, I just go back to my normal routine. So it's interesting.
It is interesting. I was thinking about that the other day. So Michelle and I were doing, going through YouVerse and the Bible, and then there's daily plans. And how is it that when you're going through the plans every single day, you feel like it's a punch in the face, like,
Oh my gosh.
rude.
I got Missy an ornament, and it's like God or Jesus peeking around the corner, and it says, I saw that. And I feel like in YouVersion, he's like, I'm watching you. But I mean, in a good way, he's serving us up what we need, even though it is like a punch in the face. But it is so timely to whatever it is we need.
I think when we're attentive to things, we're attentive to the things of God, God seems to show up a whole lot more often. Yeah, I wrote a whole book on that called Seeing God at Work Every Day. And for a whole year, just wrote a blog on where I saw God at work that day. And when you start looking, I mean, it took no time to fill up 365 days, because every day you see God at work. So it's fascinating.
Speaking of books.
Yes.
Right. So we
The
have
#1 bestseller.
there, right here. If you don't have it, you should have it, because you need to read it. So how did a pastor write a book, Laugh Often and Fear Not, and then at the end of that, how does a pastor become a stand-up comedian?
How about that? Fools for Christ, that's what we call ourselves. Yeah, but no, so my mantra in life, as both of you well know, laugh often and fear not. And I think the tagline here is a biblical perspective on how laughing often leads to fearless living. And there's so much science behind, follow the science, so much science behind how laughing and humor and levity and Dr. Marianne Martin, previously on the show, the hormone hacker, she would know, she could give us a detailed analysis on how dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin, all these kind of things, all these hormones just get dazzled and intensified when we're laughing and we have a sense of humor. And that and the release of those hormones just does so much for the body physically, but then also mentally, releasing us to think creatively, to think outside the box. To when we laugh together, that we're drawn closer together in community. And so when we laugh together, we stay together. And there's things that we laugh about that expose also a vulnerability. I kind of go out on a limb and we laugh about this, or something catches you and makes you chuckle. Then, I laugh about that kind of stuff too. And so it shares that kind of stuff. So I've always loved to laugh. I grew up on Johnny Carson. You know, remember him way back when? And I could stay up late enough to watch the monologue, and then I had to go to bed. That was the thing. But I always just thought it fascinating. How do people get up and stand up in front of people and make other people laugh? And I just thought, wow, that is amazing. And then about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, right before the pandemic, ran into a guy named Matt Kazam, who's used to be a local headliner here in Las Vegas on the Strip, stand-up comedy. And he was offering a thing called the CEO Stand-Up Challenge. And so he'd take a group of people through a stand-up comedy course, and then you go through it, and then to graduate from it, you had to perform at Caroline's Comedy Club on Times Square in New York City. And so January 20th, 2020, I was up on stage at Caroline's Comedy Club for 16 minutes doing stand-up, and most nerve-wracking time of my life. I mean, I was shaking so bad until I got up on stage, and then it went great. And I was hooked after that. I'm like, this is too much fun. And so I've been able to do some more of that, to do some church comedy shows, done some secular, in clubs and whatnot. And it's, and you know what I always get? Because my opening line is, hey, I'm David Dendy. I'm from Las Vegas. And people go, yay. And I go, and I'm a pastor. And it's just dead silence, you know. I'm like, continue to hold your applause, you know, because no one claps when you say you're a pastor. I mean, I've been at this for 36 years. But afterward, what people say afterward, the act was clean, it was funny, and I didn't know pastors could be funny. I didn't know pastors had a sense of humor. Isn't that a telling remark?
Man,
it's
yeah.
chilling almost to have the people. I didn't know you could laugh and be a Christian. I didn't know you could laugh and be a pastor. I mean, it's like,
Jeez.
wow, how about that?
That is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a double-edged sword. That's great. That I'm glad people have that experience now.
Yeah. It's like you're breaking boundaries.
Tearing down barriers. But at the same time, what have we done?
Right.
The church over the years that the world outside the church thinks we're no fun, we don't laugh, we don't smile, we're just trying to point fingers at people, trying to be judgmental. And it's like, yeah, there are some people, unfortunately, that is the way they live their life. But for the most of us, no, we're loving, we're grace-filled, and like, just come, let's be a part of this journey together and learn where God's desiring to live out our lives, to be, how do we be in relationship to one another? How do we reach out? How do we, serve the world in which we live?
Yeah. I think God has a sense of humor too, because I got to tell you, when I am paying attention and I can feel and hear him, sometimes things happen. I'm like, oh, you're funny.
Yeah, just look at the platypus. I mean, come on. Gee whiz. What was he thinking on
They're
that?
so cute.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, I love to laugh, and there's just so many great things about laughter. And what I found interesting also is I've done a few little speaking gigs in the corporate world or in that way, and how many work communities and workplaces, humor, levity, and laughter is just not a part of the culture. You go online and just look for humor in companies' corporate statement or vision statement or anything like that. Humor is just not a problem. Southwest Airlines, obviously, humor is part of that. Zappos, shoe company, humor part of that. Zappos went so far to say, we don't hire someone if they don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You got to be able to roll with things and have a sense of humor. And so it's just like, what would happen if humor did become part of people's corporate workspace place, where like when I'm in my office and I hear our staff just rolling and laughing, I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
This builds community. They're having fun. We're having a good time. Do we have to do serious work? Of course we do. But the basis of most humor is incongruity.
Right.
What you think's going to happen versus what actually happens. That turn there, that pivot, that gut punch. That it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And how often does things in the workplace go just as planned? And it never does. So why do we get upset about that?
Right.
It doesn't go as planned. Oh, something took a left turn. So let's just laugh about that and just, that just relaxes people. And, because you've heard, oh, you're free to make a mistake in the workplace. Really? Who's free to make a mistake? I mean, in most work cultures.
Right.
So then what happens is, if I'm not free to make a mistake, then guess what? I've become very good at hiding my mistakes.
Right.
And when I hide my mistakes, guess what happens to a company? Well, it goes down in a hurry.
Right.
And so that you don't want that. So anyway.
So I hear you're a speaker.
Some would say
Away
so.
from the pulpit, you're a speaker?
Yeah.
What do you speak about?
How to make fearless decision making, and how humor, levity, and laughter in the workplace can help you make better decisions. You look at Kodak. I don't know if you remember Kodak. You're probably too young to remember Kodak, but
Not that young.
yeah. But do you know who invented the first digital camera?
Xerox, wasn't it? No.
Kodak.
It was Kodak. Okay.
And guess what Kodak did with it?
Nothing.
They shelved it on purpose. The board of directors said, out of fear that it would have a direct effect on their film industry, 35 millimeter film industry, push it to the side. And so that's another dynamic that in the corporate workplace of people making decisions for the company are oftentimes making decisions that's best for them. Like you look at Blockbuster. You remember Blockbuster?
Hey, now there's one left in the whole U.S.
I
but
know.
yes.
Yeah. And so Blockbuster's making $25 million a day. And they get offered to buy Netflix for $50 million. 2 days worth of revenue. And how do you think, if you're in the boardroom and you have a board member over here who's in charge of real estate acquisition for Blockbuster, buildings, how do you think he's going to vote on that?
Right.
Not going to. For fear of him losing his space and place in the company and relevancy. And so they didn't buy Netflix. And guess who's still around? Obviously. And so it's just, and there's lots of other studies doing that. If you're getting ready to make a major decision, you better be laughing before you make the decision, because it just opens up the brain just to see more, understand more. It's just more creative. If you're acting out of fear constricts. You get like this and you grit, and you just cannot make the best decision.
Right.
So we talk a little bit about that, and we do some talk more, some more about how even in the workplace, doing some maybe not unstructured, but some things that just wouldn't normally fit the formal structure of how to do things and make decisions. And I share a little bit about some things I've done in my own life and whatnot that have kind of off the wall that ultimately help make better decisions.
So if somebody wanted to check you out, what is your website?
Website, David Dendy, DAVID, DENDY, daviddendy.com. And Instagram is The Real David Dendy. So, yeah, love to have you check me out.
Yeah.
Come check me out.
Yes, check out David, and he would love to come and talk to your company about all the things he was talking about. I think leaders lead better when they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
And another interesting study is the more people move up the corporate ladder, the less humor they have.
Really?
You lose humor
sense.
on the way up. Isn't that something? You need to have more humor.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Agree.
doubt about it. So,
Do you know who Nate Bargatze is?
of course, how could he not? I mean, he's one of the funniest guys on the planet.
He's so funny, but he kind of reminds me of you, that he's hilarious, and he's not really doesn't look like he's trying. He's just having conversations,
Just
right?
telling stories. Yeah, having
Yeah, and
conversations.
it reminds me of you. And then you said Blockbuster, because he does this thing about Chuck E. Cheese, how they want to go out of business and they can't.
That's right, they can't.
Did you see his latest 2024 one? Oh yeah, we watched it.
I think he's doing kind of a residency in Las Vegas. He's going to be in Vegas. I know this month, as a matter of fact. So
He's fantastic.
yeah, he is. It's good.
So do you have aspirations to be like that, where it's your full-time thing?
I feel pretty called to ministry. I really do. But I sure would love to. I mean, I love doing church comedy shows. I love doing stand-up. And so I'd like to do more of it, that's for sure.
Would you like a Netflix special? Netflix.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Right? Pastor, stand-up comic.
Yeah, because that
Wow.
isn't. I've never seen it before. Maybe if I hunt, but
I'm sure there's
think so.
someone out in the audience who's a producer who would love to see that be done.
I think, and we have
Yes.
a guy.
Yes.
It's David
And
Dendy.
the bombshells will be your assistant.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Can we throw in a magic trick so Missy and I can just like come on
we just
stage and
appear out of
you can cut
nowhere.
us in half, or
That's right.
make us disappear.
There'd be a lot of incongruency on that. Yes.
Well, again, Laugh Often, Fear Not by David Dendy. He's a stand-up comedian. He is a speaker, and he's a pastor, and he's our friend. And so we hope you check him out.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
David.
All right.
Thank you.